What is up, football freaks? It's that time of year again. Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and we're back for Season 2 of my weekly NFL Picks show for the 2013-2014 NFL season. Little bit of change up there. This is Season 2, second year I've been doing this full-time on YouTube. I can't tell you how excited I am about this season. It's going to be phenomenal. So the show is back. We got a couple little tweaks to it here and there, which we're going to get into right now before we get to the Week 1 picks. And how about that intro, huh? Was that intro hype, or was that intro hype? That's what I thought. So the format of the show, I'm sure you can remember from last year. I would give you my platinum, gold, silver, and bronze straight-up picks, and I'd give you the rest of my straight-up picks for that week. We changed up the format a little bit this year. The platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks do remain. That's my staple. That's what I do. I'm holding on to it. However, we have changed a little bit. I guess I've finally cracked under the YouTube pressure, and I am including some gambling picks in my show every week. But I'm only including 2 on each side. I'm giving you my top 2 against the spread picks and my top 2 over-under picks for every week. So hopefully that will satiate the gamblers among us. I do know that for the viewers who do watch the YouTube shows, they're looking for those kind of picks. I know a lot of my quote-unquote competitors, last year I called them competitors, this year I call them my YouTube family. I know a lot of them pick spread picks for the whole week. That's great. I'm more than happy to direct you to their channels to get their full against the spread picks, because my YouTube family is wonderful. What I do here, I do straight up. I think that's the best way for me personally to pick them. It's not that I can't pick against the spread or over under. I just choose not to for a full week, when really, again, the only purpose of it is gambling, really. In any case, we'll get out of that argument. I have included my top 2 against the spread and my top 2 over-under plays for the week, so hopefully that's good enough for you. And again, before we get into the picks for this week, just a reminder about the Yahoo Pick'em League. All the information for that is in the description of this video. Please get in there, join up the YouTube Pick'em League, see if you can beat me, see if you can beat last year's champion Tom Mullins. It's always a fun time. Get in on that Pick'em League. Alright, enough of my blathering. Let's get into some Week 1 picks. I'm going to start with my top 2, since it's the new feature on the show. I'm going to start with the top 2. We're going to go top 2 against the spread, top 2 over-under. Let's start with the over-under, because honestly, Week 1 is the hardest week of the NFL season to predict. I'll go on record and say that, because all the information you have is what happened last year, which kind of irrelevant, and what happens in the preseason. Also kind of irrelevant, because you don't have your starters really playing 4 quarters. So Week 1, very, very treacherous week to pick. Let's see if we can't get through it together. So let's start with the over-under. My most confident over-under play this week is in the Minnesota-Detroit game. Now that number is 46.5. So it's not the biggest number of the week. It's certainly not the smallest number of the week. Falls somewhere here in the middle. In the preseason, the Detroit defense has played very, very well. They may actually even be leading the preseason in, I think, maybe rush yards against. There's some category where Detroit's defense is king, and I think they're also top 10 in a couple of other defensive categories through the preseason. Once again, it's preseason, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, and you also have to understand the running back on the other side of the field, which is Adrian Peterson. He's a goddamn freak. But I look at this and I see Minnesota with a defense that is better than the results that we've seen in the preseason. I see Detroit, whose defense seems to be trending up. They're young, they're hungry, it's good run defense. I think 46.5 points is too much. So in that game, Minnesota-Detroit, I'm telling you, take under 46.5 points. And my number 2 over-under play on the week is in the Seattle-Carolina game. Now, the last time these two teams played, it was a absolute killer for anybody that took the over. They had a very manageable number of, I believe, 42.5. The game ended 16-12, so it shot way, way under. This year, the number is higher. The number is 45. However, that game last year happened while Carolina was struggling, and a couple of weeks at least before Seattle really went into beast mode. I know Seattle's got a good defense, however this game is in Carolina, and if Seattle's defense was susceptible anywhere last season, it was on the road. I actually like this to go over 45. I think these two teams have two very dynamic offenses. Both teams can run. Both teams can pass. They've got two amazing playmaking quarterbacks on each side. I like this game to go over. I'm telling you, in the Seattle-Carolina game in Week 1, take over 45 points. Let's go to the against the spread picks, and we're going to start with a rematch of the AFC Championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Denver Broncos. This game is in Denver. The number right now sits at Denver minus 9.5. To me, that's too many points. Where it's Week 1 in the season, Denver, of course, their defense really didn't play very well down the stretch, certainly not in the playoffs. We saw what Baltimore did to them in the playoffs. Now, yes, I grant you, a couple of those plays were miracle plays. Christina knows firsthand. She was in the stadium for that game. I just honestly think 9.5 points is too much. Baltimore's defense has still looked good in the preseason. Not great. They're not the team they used to be. They don't have Ray Lewis. At the same time, Baltimore's defense, I think, has looked good enough that they can keep this game close enough that 9.5 is too many points. While I might not think they win the game outright, 9.5, just too many. So in that game, Denver and Baltimore, I'll tell you, against the spread, take Baltimore plus 9.5. And the second ATS pick for this week comes in the game of the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Right now, this line sits at New Orleans minus 3, so they are favored by a field goal. I'm not sure what's up with the Falcons in exhibition, in preseason. I don't know if they're just tanking the preseason intentionally to give other people playing time, because really ultimately it doesn't matter, because once you get that team out there, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Roddy White, now Steven Jackson as your primary running back, that's big. Atlanta's going to be friggin' dangerous this year, but the Saints are lighting it up. The Saints might be the deepest offensive team in football. They might be the best offensive team in football. They're up there with the best. I think just based on the fact that the game is in New Orleans, and New Orleans is such a phenomenal home team. They're like Seattle. They're one of those teams that just, they play at home and it's just a whole different beast. I think I like that minus 3. I mean, you only have to win the game by a field goal, well, a little over a field goal, rather. I think I like that. So I'm in my second ATS pick here. Maybe it might seem weird for a team that's, I think, 36-12 over the last 4 seasons. I like New Orleans here. I like New Orleans to hang an L on Atlanta right out front to start the season. I'm going to stick with New Orleans minus 3. I suggest you do the same. Now that we got the top 2 out of the way, how successful it'll be, we'll have to see. Time to get into the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for Week 1 of the 2013-2014 NFL season. Going to start at the bottom with the bronze pick, which sees the Buffalo Bills playing host to the New England Patriots. And what an off-season it's been for the Patriots. Gronkowski injured. You signed Tebow, and now you trade for Tebow, or whichever it was, and now apparently some reports coming out of New England is that they're contemplating cutting him prior to the beginning of the season. You have, of course, the whole scandal with Aaron Hernandez. I really don't even want to touch that. I don't know enough about it to say one way or the other, but based on all of this and based on losses in your roster on the offensive side of the football, I'm not sure what I'm going to get from this Patriots team. What I do know is you still have Tom Brady throwing the football, probably the most cerebral quarterback in the NFL. I do know you picked up a great weapon in Danny Amendola. I do know you do still have playmakers on this team, including Stephen Ridley, who I think is underrated and is going to end this season once again as a top 10 fantasy running back. And on the other side of the things, you have the Buffalo Bills, who don't even know who their quarterback is going to be for Week 1. How could you possibly pick them? I don't think you can. Yeah, they got C.J. Spiller, and yeah, C.J. Spiller is phenomenal and can bust out these 200 rushing yard games almost, it seems, at will. But I think it's a matter of too much versus too little, even though the game is in Buffalo. For my bronze pick, Week 1, I'm taking the New England Patriots to beat the Buffalo Bills. That's the bronze pick. Silver pick, a game we just talked about, the Detroit Lions playing host to the Minnesota Vikings. You look at Minnesota. Minnesota is a team really with one weapon. They used to be a team with two weapons when they had Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin ain't there anymore. Yeah, they got Greg Jennings from Green Bay, but Jennings had a not very good season last year. Maybe as the number one target in Minnesota, he can develop this great chemistry with Christian Ponder, and maybe they'll throw the lights out, but I gotta see it first. I don't think Minnesota's defense is going to be enough to handle the passing attack that Detroit's going to bring, basically with Calvin Johnson, but now also with Reggie Bush. They picked up Reggie Bush in the offseason, and Bush is one of these guys that is so dangerous with his feet, but he's also dangerous with his hands in the pass reception game. It gives Matt Stafford another big weapon. I got to go with the Lions. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions to beat the Minnesota Vikings at home for my silver pick. Gold pick time, the Chicago Bears playing at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. In my estimation, the Bears are still Super Bowl contenders. I thought they were Super Bowl contenders all year last year until they really started to fall apart there. This is a team that's got such a good defense, and they've got such a good offense. They've got one of the top QB to wide receiver tandems in football, that being Jay Cutler to Brandon Marshall. But they've got Matt Forte, who is still a top 10 running back in this league. And they have weapons. You look at the other side, you look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati's got weapons too. You're looking at a guy like A.J. Green, one of the top wide receivers in all of football last year, developing a great chemistry with quarterback Andy Dalton. I believe you still have Jermaine Gresham at the tight end position. It's not like Cincinnati doesn't have weapons. I just don't think, I think Cincinnati has a good defense. I don't think they keep up defensively with the Chicago Bears, who has been consistently one of the best defenses in football. Week 1, Chicago hangs up an L on the Bengals. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to beat the Cincinnati Bengals at home for my gold pick. Here's the platinum pick, the top pick of the week, the San Diego Chargers playing at home to the Houston Texans. There's not a whole heck of a lot else really that you need to say about the Houston Texans. You're looking at Arian Foster, you're looking at Matt Schaub, you're looking at Andre Johnson. Huge offensive weapons. Turn around to the defensive side. You are looking at J.J. Swat, one of the best, if not the best defensive players in the league right now, and really galvanizes that whole defensive unit there in Houston, which is full of talented players. San Diego's a question mark. They have to be a question mark at this point. What are we going to get this year from Phillip Rivers? What are we going to get this year from Antonio Gates? We don't really know. What are we going to get from their run game? We don't really know. What are we going to get from their defense? We don't really know. You can make estimations from what they've done in the preseason, but you really don't know until you start seeing some regular season football. It's another one of these Buffalo and New England instances for me. It's too much against not enough. So I'm going to take the Houston Texans, even though they're on the road, to beat the San Diego Chargers in San Diego for my platinum pick. So that's it. There's the top two. There's the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for week 1. Now it's time to take a look at the rest of my picks for week 1, 2013-2014 NFL season. You're going to hear some new music this week. That's because YouTube is a jerk and kept hitting me with copyright for my previous weeks. So you're going to hear some new music, but it's time. The rest of my picks. Week 1, 2013-2014 NFL season. Check them out. That's the week 1 show for you folks. Damn, does it ever feel good to be back. 2013-2014 NFL season. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you like the changes that I've made to the show. Hit me up in the comments section below. Let me know what you think. Hit me with your suggestions. I'm always up for suggestion. I know there's a lot of competition out there on YouTube. There's a lot of people, as I found out last year, a lot of people that do NFL picks. A lot of those people now I love very dearly. They are my YouTube family, and I greatly appreciate them. But even beyond those people, there's just a lot of people that do NFL picks. So I very much appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by here for 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes to check out my NFL picks for the week. I will see you in week 2, give you my results, give you the results from the Pick'em League, Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze, results from my top 2, and give you my picks for week 2 in the NFL season. What more can you ask for? That's it for me, Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Thank Jesus Allah Buddha. I love you all. NFL football is back. We'll see you again in week 2. Peace out.